All right, guys, we're back. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy CMB checking in. And guys, before I begin, let me first send out a quick shout out to Counterpunch Boxing News. And the reason I'm sending him a shout out is because there's a saying that he has on his channel that really resonates with me, that pertains, in my opinion, to this situation with Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis. Now, I know I'm going to screw this saying up, but it's something like boxing is the sport that I love, the sport that I hate. It's something to that just what he says. And I completely agree. And like I said, this situation with Virgil Ortiz and Jaron Ennis just fits that to a T. Now, you guys know this past weekend, Virgil Ortiz defeated Erickson Lubin in dramatic fashion. He stopped him in the second round. And a lot of people looked at that as sort of a step-up fight for Virgil Ortiz. You know, he's fighting a guy who's a veteran at 154 pounds. He's a southpaw. He's technically sound. He has power. And although I expected Virgil to win, I picked him for the win. I didn't really expect him to win that quickly. I really didn't expect him to make easy work of Erickson Lubin, because Erickson Lubin is a formidable opponent. Yeah, he had 2 losses on his record, but it was to big names. Sebastian Fundora, the Towering Inferno, of course, and Jermell Charlo, who was at one time the undisputed champion in that weight class. So when Virgil won that fight, I gave Virgil his props. You know, I gave him his props. You know, I see him more than a power puncher. I know a lot of people just see him as a guy that's going to come straight forward. But I saw some skills there. I saw a little bit of skill set there. Not as skilled as Lubin, but you can see he's growing as a fighter, in my opinion. So after the fight, of course, he calls Jaron Ennis in the ring. Those two get the jaw-jacking back and forth. The fans get excited. And, you know, we think we have ourselves a fight. You know, they're talking about fighting next. Lo and behold, what happens? Oscar De La Hoya and Virgil Ortiz start talking about fighting Errol the True Spence Jr. That's his dream fight. You know, they're not talking about fighting Boots next. And then they're talking about the A-side, B-side stuff. We know when they start talking A-side, B-side, it's either a stalling tactic or you just don't really want to fight the guy. We've seen this time and time again. They keep going back to the same old damn playbook. Then you have the Errol Spence Jr. equation. Keep in mind, I'm a fan of Errol Spence Jr., but the guy's been on the shelf for over 2 years. What does Virgil Ortiz get out of fighting Spence? That's not the fight that people are calling for. The people are calling for Virgil Ortiz versus Jaron Ennis. That's what the fans want. And this is what I'm talking about. This is the part that I hate. I love the part about Virgil, you know, winning his fight in dramatic fashion, calling Jaron Ennis in the ring. The part I hate is when the backtracking begins, when the ducking starts. And to be honest with you guys, I don't like to always throw that word ducking around because it's so cliche now. But in this situation, you know, it is what it is. It's a duck move. And I don't know if Virgil is a duck or is Oscar De La Hoya, you know, trying to move him carefully. Is he afraid that he can't beat Jaron Ennis? Is that what the deal is? Or is Virgil really scared to face Jaron Ennis? You know, I don't see what the deal is. Why can't they make this fight happen? Why does Errol Spence have to be thrown in the mix? It doesn't make any damn sense. Now, I did see, let me see here. Dan Raphael reported that DAZN, it says, per source, DAZN, which has dibs on Ortiz fight, will not allow that fight to happen. And they're talking about the Spence fight. DAZN is exerting intense pressure on Golden Boy to get the Ennis fight done. And I 100% agree with what DAZN's doing, because no one asked for Spence and Virgil Ortiz. All the fans are asking for Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. Two great fighters. They should be facing off against one another. No shade to Errol Spence Jr. He's a terrific fighter. But Errol Spence Jr. has been out of the mix for a while now, and quite frankly, he needs a tune-up. You know, I know what he says. He doesn't take tune-ups, but, you know, he hasn't been in the ring since he got stopped by Terrence Boyd Crawford. So it doesn't really make any sense for Virgil to fight Spence. Give the fans what they want. I think the Zone is starting to get the message now. You know, if you make the big fights, the fans will come. People will pay their money to see big fights. And this is the fight that people have been asking for. So let's see what happens, guys. Let's see if these guys come to their senses. You know, we don't need any more ducking in the sport of boxing. You know, you got to fight. The best need to fight the best. And if you don't feel like you're the best, get out of the damn way. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway, you guys let me know how you feel about this situation in the comment section. It's the CMB. I'll talk to you guys in the next one. And I'm out. Peace.